Hello everyone, today we're going to make this 3D model of a Chinese dragon using the salt dough that I imagine you have already made. Now, as part of this lesson, you're going to learn some techniques for using salt dough. So for example, you will learn how to join two bits of salt dough together, and you will learn how to make prints in your salt dough with different objects, okay? So let's get started, year 3. I'm just going to move my dragon out of the way, and the first thing I need is a piece of foil on which I'm going to put my dragon. And the best thing to do is to then sprinkle a little bit of flour on top of the foil. Now this means that your dragon won't stick to the foil, and the foil just means that you can move it around, so you don't have to leave it on the table. So you don't want it to stick, and you want to be able to move it. Okay, what else you will need is your big ball of salt dough. You will also need a pot of water, and you will need some different objects for printing into your salt dough. So I have got some clay tools. You may not have these at home, but you could use a blunt knife. I've also got a stick that I thought I might use. You could use a pencil, and I've got a paintbrush as well. So all things that you can use at home, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is break your salt dough in half and just put one piece of salt dough to the side for later on. Now, with this piece of salt dough, we're going to make the body shape, and with the other piece of salt dough, we're going to make all the details and patterns that are on the dragon. So, the first thing you need to do is roll the salt dough into a snake shape, but it needs to be quite a thick snake shape. You don't want it thin, because you want the body of the dragon to be quite thick. So I'm just going to move that water. I'm going to use 2 hands. I don't want to use one hand, because if I do that, the middle will get thin and the ends will stay thicker, and I don't want that. I want to get it even all the way along. So just keep rolling and make sure you roll right along until you have a decent sized piece of salt dough like this. Okay, now this is going to be the main body of the dragon. And what you need to do is you need to just bend the salt dough now into the shape that you want your dragon to be. So it looks a little bit like a wave on the sea. So my dragon's going to go up at the top, down in the middle, and straight at the end. And then what I'm going to do, once you're happy with that shape, I'm going to just make the end of the dragon's body a little bit thinner and pointed like that. Okay, so that's the basic shape of the dragon. And now we start to add the details to the dragon. So we're going to start by making the head shape. So here I go. I'm going to take a piece of salt dough like this, and I'm going to make it into this sort of long shape like this, and make sure it's about the same thickness as the other piece, the body piece of salt dough. And then I'm going to start to form the V shape in the middle for the shape of the dragon's mouth. I want it to be slightly longer than that. So keep forming until you have a V shape like this. And what I'm going to do is I want to attach it here. Now, if I just stick the piece of salt dough like that, it's going to fall apart when the salt dough dries hard. So what I need to do is I need to add water with my finger, just rub it onto both parts of the salt dough. Now this water, it acts a bit like glue, and it helps the two parts stick together. So then I'm going to stick those two on, and can you see there's still lightly it's going to break. So I get my finger in the water again, and I just smooth those two parts together so there's no gap in those two parts of the dough. So smooth those two parts together. Make sure it's smoothed all the way around. And there we have the attach. And can you see that there's no visible line? There's no line showing where I've attached the mouth to the head, to the body. So I'm just going to press it in a little bit there to make a sort of eye shape. So the mouth is wide there, and then the eye shape is just going to go up a little bit like that. Okay, and then I'm going to attach an eye. So I'm going to take a small piece of the salt dough like that, and I'm going to make it into an oval shape by pressing it between my fingers and thumbs. I'm then going to put your water, or what we call slip, onto both parts, and then I'm going to smooth it onto each other so it sticks. Okay, so there's the dragon's eye. I also want to give it nostrils, and the nostrils are going to go here. So I'm going to take another small piece of clay, salt dough, and I'm going to make this a pointed shape like that and attach it there. So I'm going to press that bit down at the big front so that it can attach up like that. Okay, so I've pressed that down. I'm going to add the water on both parts, and there we have it. So there's the nostril flaring up. Okay, so there we go. Oh, something I forgot to do was to make the dragon's tongue. So to do this, I'm going to use a slightly bigger piece of clay, salt dough, than I used for the nostrils. I'm going to make it into a sausage shape by rolling it. And I don't want it to be too thick because I want it to fit inside the mouth but not be too wide. So I think this is just a little bit too much salt dough. I'm going to take a little bit away. Keep rolling, making it nice and thin. And yes, I'm happy with that. And then at the end, this part here, I'm going to squash it down to make the area bigger. And with my tool, I'm going to cut it into the shape of the dragon's tongue, just like that. And then let me see, am I happy with that? Yes, I am. So what I need to do is put my glue onto the end, my slip onto the end, and attach it inside the dragon's mouth. Remember, smooth the two edges together to make them stick well, okay? So there we have it. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the big scales on the back of the head of the dragon. So I'm going to take a piece of salt dough, a bit like that. I'm going to position it like this and just attach it. So using my water again, make the glue, rub it on to where I want to put it on the body, attach it, and remember to join the two pieces together all the way around. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten this bit because I don't want the the mane of the dragon to be as thick or as big as the dragon's body. So I'm going to flatten it, and then I'm going to make shapes of the dragon's mane. So I'm going to make it nice and thin at the top and getting wider as I go around. Then I'm going to cut another one, thin at the top and getting wider as I go around, and I'm just going to move them out a little bit to make them stand out. Okay, so just positioning and shaping the mane of the dragon. Okay, those big bits up here that make him look pretty good. Okay, so keep going, working all the way around. You can cut bits out if you like, so you can remove bits. I'll remove this section, and there we have. Okay, so there we go, and I'm just going to press that bit down just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, I also want to add a small beard on the dragon's face, so I'm going to take another small bit of PlayDoh, salt dough, can't get it right, the name. I'm going to position it underneath the dragon's chin, use my water to make the glue on both parts, press it on, and then join the two parts together. And then again, I'm going to flatten that out a bit, and I'm going to cut beard shape zigzags in the bottom of my dragon under his mouth. Okay, there we are. And then you can keep going. You can add any details you want to. I'm going to add some scales up here that really stand out. So I'm going to get a piece of PlayDoh that's the same width as this part. And then I'm going to just glue it on again, using my water on both parts. Glue that on. Just flatten it into the dragon's body, and then I'm going to make scale shapes again. There we are. And it's another part of the dragon's spectacular mane. Okay, so we're getting there. Something I have forgotten, which is really important, are the legs. Now, I hope I've got enough salt dough. So, the legs, you're going to position one leg here and one leg just about here. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. So you're going to break off a bit of salt dough and make it into a rectangle shape. You're going to place it in position, glue it together on both sides, make sure that you then blend it into each other using the water, and then once you're happy with the size, you're going to press down the end of the dragon's leg and make some claws. And you're going to make the claws just like I showed you how to do the mane at the top. So I think I'm going to give my dragon 5 claws. So just cutting them into points like that. Okay, just like that. There we have the dragon's claws. And then you need to do the back leg. Now what I suggest with the back leg is that you make it come round. So you bend it round Oh, I'm running out of salt dough, but you bend it round so that the leg comes round to the front, and then do exactly the same. Press it down at the end, and you can make the claws in the foot. So let me just show you that again. I've put my water on to create the glue. I'm going to stick those two sections together really tightly, and then bend the leg around so it's coming forwards, and then press down the end. And then when you're happy, you can start to put in the claw shapes, okay? But I'm not going to do that now. You can continue with that. Okay, now if you find that you've got a sort of crack in your Play-Doh, so like here, you just get some water and smooth over that crack. Smooth over the crack there. Okay, next step. A little bit more Play-Doh, salt dough, sorry. And then I'm going to shape that into a circle. Okay, shape it into a circle and attach it as a tail. So wet the end of the dragon's body, wet the end of the tail section, and then join those two bits together really well. Flatten the tail, and again you can add the those shapes on the end of the tail just as you want to, okay? And I will leave you to continue with that as well. Okay, the next thing is to make the scales on the back of the dragon. So again, you take a small piece of salt dough, you form it into a triangle shape, a nice thick triangle. You may then want to cut it so it looks more triangular like. And you're going to, again, stick with the water onto the side of the body. And there we have it. And you can see that on mine, I did scales going all the way along the back of the dragon. You might want to do the same, but I won't do that now. Okay, the final thing I'd like to add to my dragon are the scales on his body. And to do this, you can take one of the tools that you have. I'm going to use the paintbrush. I'm going to use the end of the paintbrush, and I'm just going to press it into the dragon's body like that, and it creates a pattern. I could also use the end of my clay tool, and it gives a similar effect. Okay, so I will leave you to continue with that. Now, when you feel that you have put on as many details as you would like, your dragon is finished. What is very important is that you don't pick it up, you leave it somewhere nice and warm, and you let it dry. And so that will take about a week, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. And once it's dry, it will go hard, and it will be a hard model, a hard 3D sculpture that you can pick up, and it will feel hard and be heavy. Okay, so I'm really looking forward to seeing these dragons year 3. So good luck, and once you have made your dragon and it has dried, you may wish to paint those dragons in any way that you see fit. Okay, year 3, good luck. Bye for now.